Hello, I'm Siobhan Birmingham. I'm an actress and entrepreneur as well as a legacy education student, and today I have the privilege of interviewing Dr. Rohan Weerasinghe, or better known as Dr. Ro. And this is a really exciting interview because it's going to be a lead up to the new series that's coming out. So Dr. Ro, just to start off, can you give the viewers a bit of an insight into your journey so far and what got you to this point?
Thanks, Siobhan. It's interesting because I'm sitting here looking at you and I'm in a room which I originally came through in the early days for my learning through Legacy. But let me just rewind before that. When I first started out, I was a young lad. My father was not very well from an early age when I was born. And a lot of people say to me, you know, this whole journey that you've been on, did it shape you as a human being? And I think it did, because if anybody's watching this right now and you're thinking you want to improve yourself, improve your health, improve your finances, but you're going through a difficult time, I think what you're going through at the moment, what we go through as human beings, really shapes our destiny. So my background is a mix of half English, half Sri Lankan, hence the surname Weerasinghe. And we ended up cutting it down to Dr. Ro because people literally couldn't pronounce the surname. Mum worked very hard in the evenings in a factory, in the daytime supporting as a school assistant. And my father had a stroke at a very young age. So he was 27 when he had his first stroke, 29 when he had another major stroke, 36, paralysed down one side. So I grew up into a mixed cultural background with a very sick father. And you know, we're here under the roof of Legacy learning about wealth. My model of success was purely work hard, which I'm sure you probably had something similar growing up as a young woman as well. And most people do watching this. I'm sure you've seen your parents work very, very hard. So my mum worked hard. My model was work hard, studied hard, get a good education, got the PhD, which I heard Robert Kiyosaki not many years later say, well, that stands for poor, helpless and desperate. And I think I grew up into an era where as long as you had a good education, everything was going to be fine. And that's not the case. Not certainly today, and anybody watching this hopefully understands that the world has changed. And at 50 years of age now, I've seen the economy change, I've seen people's careers change. You yourself know you're just both, you know, you're not just an actress, but you're an entrepreneurial actress as well. So you've diversified in your own right, and I think part of that journey through Legacies helps you do that. I think if you ask me honestly, you know, what was the big shifts for me, I talk about turning points, and I guess we're going to come back to this later in the interview. After seeing my mum work so hard, I just went on this huge journey to study hard, and I was told as long as you climb the corporate ladder, everything's going to be fine. But at the age of 18 years of age, I just happened to pick up some personal development books at 18, and I started reading. So by the time I was at university, I was already doing small talks to college students and young kids at school, talking to them about the mindset of studying and learning and communication. And I was in my 20s. And that put me out into the space of going into colleges and universities while studying, doing my degree, then my PhD. I got involved in network marketing back in the 80s, wanted to make some extra money whilst I was studying. So I had a natural entrepreneurial instinct. I just had never had it nurtured in me. But the discipline I think my mum gave me more than anything else was to work really hard. My father passed away, I was 13 years of age, I have two brothers. And so this journey that you talked about really took me on a lot of highs and lows. Since then, my mum came close to death. She's had cancer. I've been through the experience of being married and divorced. I know what happens when somebody works very hard in their job and relationships split up. And I think the biggest thing that I find when I'm meeting with people, because I've had so many changes in my life, it's created an empathy with people. Within minutes of talking to somebody, I can almost feel I've been down that path. I've been down that path. And I was privileged because I came across Legacy in 2001, 2002 when they first launched into the United Kingdom, and myself and my business partner Raj Deb, he had said to me, we've got to go and learn about property. And we had one property, so he dragged me to a free event. I was kicking and shoving. I said, you know, my head was right up my bum at the time because I was managing multi-million-pound projects. I was self-employed. I was one of only 4 or 5 people in the world in my specialist area, which is geotechnical engineering. And I get dragged into the seminar room thinking somebody's going to sell me on something and they're going to take money off me. And sure enough, they did. But that's because I ran to the back of the room and I wanted to get to learn more. So Legacy was really for me, Legacy was the first step in wealth education. I'd done a lot of personal development, huge amounts. I mean, if I look back now, probably in excess of £100,000 worth of personal investment into my personal development. But I'd never been taught how to become financially independent. So I went through a 3-day program, which is what I teach now. We bought 40 properties in our first year, Raj and I. That expanded. We had mentoring. We went through all of the programs, invested more money. And in a way, that's how I met you, because you came through as a student in one of my classes teaching for Legacy. And since then, I think 15 to 17 countries. I've led them pretty much into most countries they've been into, which has been a privilege. And yeah, just taught tens and tens of thousands of people, and it's been a privilege and helped lots of people on the way to financial freedom. But along the way, wrote a personal development book called Turning Point.
Yes.
We work with an amazing technology called EMT, which works at a very unconscious level with communication. And now my real passion is getting people to realize that it's not just about creating wealth, but it's also about developing yourself as a human being, because the foundations of who you are give you the best structure. Because my background is civil engineering, get the foundations right, you get the structure right, and of course if the structure is too tall and the foundations are weak, the structure tends to topple over. So my whole belief is that if we can re-engineer a human being and work out who they are as a foundation, we can create wealth, health, relationships, and all these great things.
So coming back to your